Welcome back to the Red Sofa here at Automotive Logistics and Supply Chain Global, sponsored by Unipart. I'm very pleased to be joined by Mike Tickle, who's come over from the UK to talk to us about excellence in supply chain planning. We had a great session digging into that. Mike, I wanted to kind of start there with some of the high-level things you're doing in terms in industrial operations at JLR to really enhance and improve your supply chain planning.
Yeah, so as we just talked about with the panel, 2.5 years now we've been investing in our kind of supply chain transformation. It's been part of the wider industrial operations transformation where we've got a single manufacturing procurement supply chain, digital innovation team and some program readiness teams working in one group. As we stabilized post the semiconductor challenges, we've done that by collaborating in a really different way. We created a material fulfillment team that is really, really powerful. And we have a sort of straightforward approach on planning that allows us to send the end-to-end signal right through to all of our suppliers.
So those are some great initiatives. One of the things you talked about in the session, which really caught a lot of interest, was this idea of tolerance bands, sort of range forecasting. Can you tell us a little bit more about that and how you're looking to potentially apply it?
Yeah, sure. So it's coming about because of the dramatic change we're going through, right? We're going to, in parallel, on some of our products, stay fully flexible, being able to offer combustion engine products, hybrid or PHEV products, as well as full all-electric products. We're going to have that on our MLA platform we're really proud of, Range Rover Sport. And in doing that, we're going to be supplying different parts of the world with different volumes of those different technologies, some of them exclusively one or another, some of them a mix of all three. And we're never going to get that forecast right. These are products of desire. These are really sought after products. And we are working on how are we going to be able to stay flexible and responsive to the different demands, but at the same time be able to satisfy the requirements that the supply chain has that say, how can we rely on your forecast, right? So my approach around that is going to be all about looking at stats that give us different ranges of views, right? So no more single point forecasting, but multiple forecasting using different statistical models, maybe combining that with some of our own insights as well. And the beauty of that will be we maybe start a little bit wider and then over time we'll funnel that down to a point when, of course, we will have to make a clear commitment, right? But the beauty of that is going to be as part of the collaborative dialogue we'll have with our supply base that we can bring that to life.
Absolutely, and it's that collaboration that's implied in that, which is really what I think excited people. That, I can work early with my customer, a tier one or an LSP with JLR to know where you're going and how they need to adapt to it.
Yeah, so I mean, as we've transformed the kind of industrial operations approach, part of that has been a very, very different supplier relationship management approach led by our procurement team, right? We're all contributing to that. It's all about deeper connections, trust and transparency with our most strategic suppliers, and really working with them, whether that means meeting with them annually, and in some cases we meet with them quarterly so that they understand our business and we understand theirs. What are the hotspots here? What are the ways of working? Where's the innovation on both sides of the relationship that we can seek to exploit, right? And all of this, I think, fits into that paradigm. You know, I think I've been a little bit surprised post the panel that people have been approaching me and going, "This is a really refreshing way to work." We see the value in the end-to-end supply chain working, and actually, it starts right down through the supply chain tiers and ultimately goes right to the customer, to the retailer end of the process. So we're trying to make that come alive with the data flowing in both directions between us and our suppliers, so no longer a single broadcast message, EDI style single point number, but a much more collaborative way of working with our supply base and our supplier partners through that process, whether that's a regular weekly call where we share the latest information and tell people when we've hit issues. Sometimes we use those processes also to say we're looking for some help in specific areas. So we're keeping it really dynamic and collaborative. That's the key thing for us.
Absolutely, and on that point of collaboration deep in the supply chain and with suppliers. One of the things JLR did notably during the chip crisis, semiconductors, was to get deeper upstream, to work more closely directly with suppliers, with critical suppliers, maybe even influence design, engineering, and product. Is that a lesson or that an approach that carries through to other suppliers that you work with?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're forecasting, and in some cases providing forecasts up to 24 months out. That we learned that through the semiconductor challenge, but we've learned so much from those semiconductor relationships that we've built, that we're seeing the benefit of that if we can translate that into other areas. So this idea of quarterly business reviews that I talked about before, we run those with many of our semiconductor suppliers, and we're expanding that idea into other spaces. We ran a Empowering Women in the Automotive Supply Chain conference only recently in our North American office, and that was with 3 of our strategic semiconductor and semiconductor related industry suppliers, right? It was all about uplifting women and supporting female talent coming through into our industry. It's going to be really, really important. It's just an idea of how we've collaborated differently, but we've also run supplier summits recently on EV. We've run supplier summits on the ICE to BEV transition. So we're trying to work in a really different way.
No, absolutely. And I think we talked there upstream in the suppliers, but if we also think downstream, linking that to customers. You mentioned the complexity of your products and what needs to go into that. How are you bringing the customer view and even the customer interaction all the way across your supply chain as much as you can?
Our products are about the ultimate desire, right? Range Rover, Defender, Discovery, and Jaguar, 4 incredible brands that we're trying to bring to life in a really different way, in an omni-channel environment where people will be on their mobile devices, their laptops, in our retailers, in our partnership and boutique stores. They will want an incredible experience, and we will mine that information and provide it through all of our supply chain technology through to our supply base. That's going to be really, really key so that we can work together. When you blend those 2 ideas together, range forecasting and the live share of that information, which we're using, AI tools powered by AI to help us at both ends of that process, then I think we're building a real recipe for future success for the organization. It's a challenging environment, but we're selling really highly desirable products, and with that comes the opportunity for real collaboration to make that happen.
Absolutely, and you alluded to some important tools and technology that will support that. We're going to be talking more about that with JLR at other events too. But Mike, we really, really appreciate the time that you've given us here and shared with our audience, and for inspiring some of our audience here as well.
Thanks very much. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks very much for following us here at the Automotive Logistics and Supply Chain Red Sofa. Keep with us on LinkedIn. You'll hear more interviews, more coverage on our live blog, and a lot more from Automotive Logistics and Supply Chain Global.